Welcome to IXU On Air, Episode 3. All the way from the United States of America, I spoke to David White from the San Francisco Unicorns. Now, the MLC is starting in a few days, and we chatted a bit about cricket in America. If you haven't yet done so, click like and subscribe to our channel to see more of this content. Also, drop some comments below and tell us what you would like to see and hear next. Now to the episode. I'm super excited. This is a major deal, pun intended, to have David White on the podcast. Welcome to IXU On Air, David White, all the way from San Francisco.
Thanks, Thornton. Yeah, thanks for having me.
It's great. We just had a chat beforehand, and as you're sitting comfortably in the chair all the way in America, I'm saying all the way because I'm still in South Africa. You're not originally from America, so please just tell us where you're from originally and how did you get into cricket?
Yeah, I'm a South African as well. Born and bred in.
So you understand Lekker.
I understand Lekker. Yeah. Well, I was from Durban, so I'm a bit of a Sokti. So yeah, from the east part of the country, a lot of English down there, a lot of cricket there. So I grew up there till I was 16. Went to Kearsley College for a few years and then finished my schooling at grade PE. Yeah, family moved to PE when I was 16. And then finished my schooling there and went to university and played my professional cricket there in the Eastern Cape.
Nice. Okay, so you played there and had a great impact, had a great career. Now obviously you moved across to America, and if you use cricket and America in the same sentence, not everyone necessarily understands that, but explain to us how the cricket setup or structure actually works in America.
Yeah, I think that that question can sort of be a podcast on its own, and I think the last few
we'll do another episode.
Yeah, the last few years, a lot has happened, within cricket in this country, and like you say, traditionally, obviously, not a cricket playing nation, and not a nation known for cricket, but there's a huge market that exists here, and a huge opportunity that's presented itself over the last few years that we're looking to sort of take advantage of. So I think the easiest way to answer that question is probably, I'd say 3 years ago, the previous board, USACA, turned to USA Cricket, and USA Cricket partnered with American Cricket Enterprises, which is also known as Major League Cricket, which effectively were commercial partners to bring professional T20 cricket to the US for the first time. So that's when it started. And obviously, as you can imagine, that's a huge undertaking and a huge venture. And how it sort of, what started happening was, recruited players across from all around the world, professional players, and with the thought process of forming a minor league competition, which has happened over the last 2 years, 2017 tournament. So we've brought in professional players to play with the local domestic players and form somewhat of a pathway tournament, which, as I said, has been quite a big success over the last 2 years.
That's great news.
And leading towards our flagship product, which was the plan the whole time, which is Major League Cricket, which is due to start in 2 weeks' time. Hence, you chatting to me now. So, that's kind of been the very, very high level, summary of it from a minor league and a major league point of view. There's obviously also the national team that links to that, which, to qualify for the national team, you need to be a resident in the country for 3 years. And that's also a very important part of, Major League Cricket's plan in recruiting cricketers to come across to not only, incubate the domestic system, but also to be on a pathway to commit and to play for the national team, and potentially have USA Cricket, the national team be stronger and be able to invite other countries for bilateral tours and things like that to the US. So that's, as I said, a sort of 3-year qualification, and a lot of our players are close to that qualification date. I think, the USA team at the moment are in Zimbabwe playing a Cricket World Cup qualifier. And then probably the last element of that would be, the setup here is a ever-growing and bizarre sort of the private tournament sector, which are these weekend tournaments that happen throughout the year. There's the Houston Open, Atlanta Open, US Open that happens at the end of the year. And then, why I say bizarre is because you get some, really good cricketers coming, loads of international cricketers that play for a few days. And, it's pretty high quality competition for a few days. And then most people disperse, and it's sort of like it never happened. So it's, that kind of happens 5 or 6 times a year, and it's formed quite an important part of the local cricket ecosystem over the last couple of years. And it's been a way that guys can be based here, be on path to qualify for the national team, but also sort of maintain their skill sets around the minor league and major league times, or outside of those times, should I say.
Yeah, no, and I think it's so exciting to hear the bizarre word, because I think in that space you create an excitement around the sport, which is obviously contributes to the growth of it on a grounds level as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, you wouldn't think it from the outside, and from the outside, you just it would be hard to understand. And I think any player that's come and played those tournaments or played in the minor league would be surprised with the quality of cricket that you find here. And like I said, it's definitely accelerated over the last few years. And the major league, I think, will really put cricket on the map, so to speak. And that's obviously a 17-day tournament coming up now in July, with some of the world's best players coming in to play alongside those domestic players that I had mentioned.
Yeah, no, definitely. We're all looking forward to that. Now, obviously, when we speak about cricket and America, the competitive sport or the rival sport comes up, baseball. So I want to hear in your 2 years in America, have you played baseball yet? And what do you think are the major differences between the two sports? I mean, there are obviously a lot, but if you have played, you'll be able to say whether it is.
Yeah, calling it a rival in the American market at the moment, I think, does a disservice to baseball. I don't think we're quite a rival yet. Hopefully we'll be a rival soon in terms
aspiring
of
rival.
Yeah, aspiring rival. But baseball obviously is so deeply ingrained, within the American culture over the last 100 years. I say it because cricket was, first international sport ever played. Here was actually a cricket match, but that's just that's a random fun fact that we sometimes use. But nice. Baseball, like I said, such a deeply ingrained sport, and I think over the last few years, there's been sort of baseball's kind of been challenged in a lot of ways, in the same way that you can imagine, like almost Test cricket has been challenged to quicken up the game, and sort of the advent of T20 was because of that. But baseball's sort of been challenged in that same way, and a lot of the narrative around baseball is like, hey, there needs to be ways to quicken the game up and to make it more exciting. I think as a sport, I think if you had to compare the two, I think cricket having, obviously biased, but cricket having that 360-degree element of it, I think plays a a big factor. I think there's a lot more action in cricket from like a batting point of view. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot more plays. But yeah, like I said, I mean, baseball, I've watched a few games here, you know, at Oracle Park here in San Francisco, and beautiful ground, and they do such a good job of commercializing the game and filling the dead spots, so to speak, within the game with adverts, or there's some entertainment going on, that, you know, and I think the American sporting market is so good at that in general.
Yeah. Have you played a game baseball yet or not?
No, sorry, I missed that part of the question. No, I haven't. Actually, I went to the batting cages once, like 18 months ago when I arrived, and yeah, it was pretty weird. It was a pretty weird swing. I sort of kept hitting the ball like low and through the offside, and I didn't. It was quite it's sort of a different swing, but
I can imagine.
Yeah, before I moved over to the States, I actually I did a bucket list for myself of about, you know, 30 odd things that I wanted to do within the States, and, you know, all the touristy things, as you can imagine, you know, visit the White House and Statue of Liberty and all of that. But number 30 on that list was hit a home run in a baseball game. So I've got to do that at some stage, and it's still on my list. I don't know when that's going to happen, but
it has to happen.
It has to happen at some stage for me to cross off the list.
Nice. Okay. Now, well, speaking about other sports, if you could play any other sport professionally, what would it be?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, growing up as a South African, I mean, we all dreamt of, you know, being the Springbok fly half or inside center or something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
being Jean de Villiers or something like that. That was always really cool. I, as a rugby player, never made it out of the forward pack, so that dream was never. I was a loose forward, and I played at school level and loved rugby. Just because of that sort of schoolboy rugby element, like, you know, it's such a great culture. In South Africa, the schoolboy rugby culture, I think it's very unrivaled in terms of maybe college sports over here, like the college football is quite similar. But always sort of want to play rugby. But besides that, I don't know. I think you know, golf comes to mind, especially now with the new merger. Maybe it's a good space to be in.
Yeah, no, definitely. Oh, that's interesting. Now, just back to cricket. What was your most exciting moment in your cricket career? And this, you can include your primary school days, if one of your primary school days was really the highlight of your career. But it really is, if we ask the pros. But yeah, what was your most exciting moment?
Yeah, man, it's also a good question. I mean, you know, I think for me, like the natural thing that you think of is sort of off-field moments, to be honest. Like, you know, obviously, you know, there were highlights for me and on the field, and there were times that, you know, were great, but you know, and if you think of, you know, obviously representing my country at different levels was very special. But you know, just it was a lot of the off-field. Like, I often, you know, think of fines meetings at the end of 4-day games, you know, after a win, and you in the change room. I mean, at St. George's Park, and we had some great fines chairmen over the years, that, you know, and it was just such a, you know, when I think back on my cricket career, it's times like that, you know, after you've been out in the field for 4 days, and, you know, you can have a few beers with your teams and a good laugh and just like really decompress, you know. So those are probably the best parts of it for me.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, that some of the moments are the off-field moments. I asked another player as well, and he also mentioned it was actually the time he was called up to the national squad, which was not an on-field moment. He was in the nets, and he got the call. So yeah, it's interesting to hear what the highlights in a career is.
Yeah. No, I'd say it's actually, it makes sense, because like the feeling of getting called up, like getting the call, is actually like you get this high and this, you're so stoked that you made a team. I mean, but then there's, the next day or two, it comes the realization of like, damn, now I've got to actually go play it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now it's like, okay, what's the job at hand almost. So I remember driving out of St. George's Park, and Simon Harmer was driving out in front of me, and then he stopped his car, and I was like, what the hell, Simon, why you stopped your car? And then he got out and he said, like, the SAA team's just been picked on Supersport, and he like showed me the phone, and we were both in the team, and it was like quite a cool moment.
Oh, that's awesome.
Where I was like, damn. But then the next few days you're like, okay, well, I got to go and play it, it's you do have those sort of types of moments.
No, that's awesome. So still on the cricket note, and a bit more towards the MLC. On our side, we're super excited. It's I think we have to set alarms to watch the games because of the time difference. But and I think I'm going to ask you to be very open when you say this, because I know you're rooting for the Unicorns. But what other franchise other than the Unicorns do you think will feature this year in the MLC?
Yeah, I mean, all the teams look really strong. So I mean, for anyone that's listening, it's the Unicorns is the San Francisco based team, which you mentioned, which I'm
coolest name though
to be a part of. Yeah. Yeah, it is a pretty cool name. And yeah, so that team is owned by two very prominent Bay Area entrepreneurs, the web and tech experts, and they've got Cricket Victoria in or as consultants. So the Cricket Victoria are cricket consultants that are helping run the cricket operation side of things. They've brought in their coaching staff and so on. Then you have the Seattle Orcas is another team. Which is owned by the GMR Group, and which owns Delhi Capitals. So that's a link with Delhi Capitals. So you'll see a lot of the overseas players that have ties to these other teams that are coming in as the overseas players. So and then Washington Freedom, which owned by Sanjay Govil, and they've also got New South Wales as their cricket sort of consultant. That are running the team. You have the Texas Super Kings, who are owned by the CSK franchise, and we'll bring in all their, Steve Fleming as the head coach and so on. All the suspects, Faf du Plessis will be there as well, and then Mumbai Indians or Mumbai MI New York, which is owned by the Mumbai Indians franchise. And then the LA Knight Riders as well, which are owned by the Kolkata Knight Riders franchise. So as you can see, there's sort of a big sort of RPL taste, and all the as I said, the overseas players coming in are sort of those same suspects. So Knight Riders is the Narines, the Russells, the Jason Roys. Mumbai Indians would be your Pollards, Rashid Khans, Trent Bolts, these sort of guys that have played, KG Rabat is there as well. The captain for the Unicorns is Aaron Finch, linked to the Melbourne Renegades, so that you're going to see those ties. And I think in general, that's obviously the way that cricket's going, is the, you've seen now, like with the contracts, the supposed contracts that people like Jofra Archer and Jason Roy have been offered, more franchise-based contracts. And I think that's, you'll see more and more, players that are linked to franchises, applying their trade in the different tournaments around the world, of which Major League is one of them.
Yeah, no, it's very exciting to see to see how it's a globalized sport, and hopefully the excitement that you see in the IPL can be brought to the MLC. So it is going to be exciting. And from an IXU perspective, we have to be impartial, because we've got obviously you in the Unicorns, we've got Faf with the Super Kings, and then obviously we've got Heinrich Klaassen in the Orcas. So we'll just be clapping along, but it's going to be super exciting. And hopefully it's a great, hopefully you have a great season, all of you guys. So lastly, on the question side, then we'll go to the game. If you have any piece of advice for aspiring cricketers out there, what would it be? And it's a single piece of advice. It can be something that they can put on a poster.
Oh man, that's a tough one. For me, I would say it sounds a little bit cheesy, but learn to enjoy other people's successes. I'd say that's the biggest lesson. If you can get that right, especially in a sport like cricket, I think you will naturally have a few more good days. Because as a batsman you don't have many of them, so if you can learn to, and that can be just spending time with a guy that's had a good day after the game, it's maybe investing in your teammates, and that sort of thing, and that's going to give you more of a feel of when they do well, that it feels somewhat like your success too. So learn to enjoy other people's successes, I think, and then they will probably enjoy your success too.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's great advice. I think it'll look good on a poster.
So maybe a bit long.
But you get those poems they put on, so maybe you had that in mind.
Maybe it can be a tattoo or something.
Yeah. Now, we always play a game with our guests. This game is called Guess That Price. So I went out on my best Google search and I searched for the prices of some unique bats. Some unique, some are wholesale bats. And you are going to guess the price in American dollars, because it's an MLC interview, obviously.
Okay.
And you have wiggle room between $100 down and $100 up. So
okay.
I'll give you a point if you get that. And there's 5 different bats, and they are in no specific order. Okay, so I'll give as much info as I can about the bat. Otherwise, I'll just ask you to guess. And I'm going to take notes here to see if you can be one of the high-scoring guests on our podcast. Each question is worth 2 points.
Okay.
Non-transferable. They're just worth high fives. There's no other currency involved here.
Do I not get any free gloves, extra pair of gloves sent to me for the tournament or something like that?
Let's discuss that, definitely. Signed by us. That's a joke. Okay, cool. The first bat, guess that price. The Kookaburra Joss Butler Players Replica 2022, and it's primarily sold in Australia. How much do you think in dollars does that cost?
That would be $425 US.
You are unfortunately wrong. It's $1,400. $1,400. Yes.
What? No ways.
That's a price. I think you can buy a car. I don't know, America. Can you buy a car for $1,400?
Well, not something you can feel safe in, but no, you could.
Okay, I have no idea.
1,400. Okay, so I need to adjust my. Okay, cool.
They're all different, so this is just a feel. The next one is sold in South Africa. It's a DNP denim bat, also 2022 model, but let's say it's the latest model in dollars.
Okay, so DMP, and it's manufactured in South Africa, I think. Let's go with about my original bet. Let's go $500.
Well done. It's $540.
Okay.
So well done. You got 2 points. You're on the board.
Thank you. On the board. Thank goodness.
Nice. Okay. So this next one is also a retail bat. It's a MRF Genius Game Changer.
Okay. So you say, is that in South Africa? Sold in South Africa?
Yes, it is available in South Africa. This one is a bit more global. But yeah,
okay, so I think because of AB and Coley, and they would have driven the prices up over the years for these bats. I would say $650.
Oh, $1,450. So you would have got, you had to go higher.
So AB and Coley really did ramp that up. Eh? Wow.
Yes,
so they were worth
definitely.
their money. Okay.
Definitely. Okay, we got 2 left, and I'm gonna give you a clue. Okay, it's about to get crazy.
Yeah.
So that's the only clue I'm giving. It's about to get crazy.
Okay.
So this is the next one is a Gray Nichols Legend bat. Now I'm gonna give you a bit info on this. The Gray Nichols Legend bat Gold Edition is a limited edition bat, and they only have 200 pieces that have been produced so far.
Wow. Okay.
Guess that price.
So we're going up.
And I'm giving you another tip. You now have $1,000 to play with up and down.
Wow.
It's
$7,000.
Crazy.
$7,000.
You're guessing 7?
Yeah.
Wrong. It's $14,000.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
I don't know who would pay that for a bat, but
wow. Yeah.
This is crazy.
The first one hits the toe and it cracks, and then what?
I don't think if you buy that, I would just put it in a glass cage and have it signed or something.
Guaranteed.
Okay, so yeah. Okay, last one. Here you can guess the closest 10,000. It's I'm not sure what the bat is, but this bat was played by Sir Donald Bradman in the 1934 Ashes, and it was auctioned at the end of 2021, the same time you moved over to America.
Yeah.
It was auctioned, and it is it's obviously they don't play with it. It was auctioned in 2021. Closest 10,000.
Let's go with $220,000 US.
Oh, no, you're in the ballpark, not with the 10,000s, but it's close to that. It's a $174,250.
Okay, so I finally guessed up. I finally got myself up there. Okay.
Yeah. It's crazy. No, I know this was very all over the place, the prices. So I didn't actually give you a fair chance, but just for being a sport, I'll give you another point. So you're on 3 points, but
Thank you.
It's still great. That's worth at least a cool IXU shirt with your name on or something that we can send to you.
Perfect. I'll hold you to that. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. David, I really appreciate your time. Good luck with the MLC. We will definitely be watching. And if you see the camera pointing at you, just give a wink to all of the South Africans listening, because we are watching, we are supporting, and we hope you do really well in that tournament.
Thanks, Thoughts. Appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Pleasure. Cheers.
Thanks for watching episode 3 of IXU on Air. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel, and watch out for awesome merch dropping soon. See you next time.